Hello, today I will be reviewing the Trideer boxing gloves. These were the first pair of boxing gloves I ever owned, and I've noticed a lot of the people who review them, there's a plane going overhead, sorry, a lot of people who review them tend to not talk about the longevity of these gloves. They tend to only use them for like the week or so that they have them on hand, and then just throw them out. Well, I've had these gloves for about 5 months, and I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of these gloves and what it's like having them for that long. So tune in. So, first thing about these gloves is they are not actually regular boxing gloves. They are Muay Thai style gloves. That means they have a shorter cuff, which means you get a lot less wrist support. You can actually bend your hand a lot more freely, and it actually kind of tapers in right here, and is a lot more stout of a glove. Because of that, if you are prone to wrist injuries, like I am, punching all day in these actually hurts after a long enough time. And like I have carpal tunnel from years of guitar, and it's just not great for that. It has a problem. The next thing that I would say is a big problem with these gloves is the padding. The padding feels great at first. Like when you first get them, they feel wonderful. But after punching in them for like 4 or 5 months, I quickly started to realize that my knuckles were actually punching through the padding a little bit. And after maybe 20-minute sessions, my knuckles were really sore. And I wear wraps and everything, and it's still a problem. Also, the padding is really dense, so do not spar in these gloves or else you will hurt the person you're sparring with, and that would be a bad time. The actual craftsmanship, though, of the glove is actually quite good for a Chinese brand. The stitching is all really nice and really good, except for one big flaw, and that is this lining that is on the inside of this glove. It is way too loose. And when your hand is in the glove and you're sweaty and you're punching all day, you'll actually find that your hand will kind of float around the inside of the glove a little bit, and that will actually affect your punches quite heavily. And I'm afraid that this lining will eventually tear because my hand actually kind of slides around in here, even with wraps. And I have quite large hands, and it still slides around and is a problem with these. The thumb compartment is actually quite nice, though. I don't find that my thumb jams at all. It's a huge thumb compartment. Maybe even a little too big, but it's fine. It has breathable holes, not in the thumb, but in the palm there. But I do find that my hand still does get sweaty with this faux suede, not suede, this faux leather that they use, this synthetic leather. I also find that this all black is the one I chose, the stealth one. And it does get quite a bit of wear and tear on the actual material itself, as you can see. This is all from the punching bag that I use. And my other gloves that I got for Christmas don't do that. It's just this pair so far that I've come across that have really just shown every piece of dirt on it. It's like whenever you get an electronic and it shows fingerprints, this will show every wear and tear, every little thing on it right away. But then why would you buy these gloves? If I'm saying all these negative things, well, they're $15. And if you don't know if you like the sport and you just want to try it out and not spend $150 on a pair of boxing gloves, these are a good beginner option to really get your feet wet in the sport before you actually jump full in. And then, 6 months down the line, you can opt for new ones. Like I just got Fairtex BGV9s. They're my current favorite gloves. But these gloves aren't all bad. Another problem is this stitching is actually starting to fray a little bit. I don't know if that'll come up on camera. It really feels like these gloves weren't intended for you to use them daily for 6 months, but I did. And like the tag is starting to fray, and there's like little stitching popping up all over. But again, $15. You know, there's not a whole lot you can buy for $15, let alone a box of gloves. And the padding isn't bad at first. Like, it's soft enough, or dense enough rather, that you don't feel your hits, and it still pops quite nicely on the bag. But then after like 4 or 5 months, my knuckles started to actually poke through, which is its own problem. High style gloves is there's a lot of extra padding on the back and on the inside cuff and wrist. And as a boxer, that's a lot less useful, but I mean, it's also not a whole lot of padding, honestly. Like, even compared to like a Fairtex or something, or Twins, the padding is just a lot more. This is like maybe a 1/4 of an inch of padding right here. And it's so narrow too that it's almost useless for even like blocking kicks and elbows like you'd be doing in Muay Thai. All in all, these gloves are maybe like a 3 out of 10, but they're cheap. And that makes them maybe a little higher than I would otherwise give them, just because they're so affordable. I don't know, they were my first gloves, and I would recommend maybe saving up a little bit for something better, unless you're just getting this for someone who doesn't even know if they're going to like it. But if you're buying this for yourself and you're wanting to, and you know you're going to get into the sport or even just the working out, just save up like twice as much and buy like a $40 pair of gloves instead of these $15 gloves, because they're just not great.